everybody. So here we are at Sravasti Abbey. Okay, much to our own surprise, 1 week ago this time, on about an hour's notice, we evacuated because of a fire burning very close, actually. And so we were quite fortunate in that we had a fire evacuation team in place, and they had, told us what we need to pack in our suitcases. They had a plan all worked out, where we go, who goes in what car, who, what people we can stay with, different friends and supporters in Spokane and CDA. And so all of that was worked out, thank goodness. And so we got together, got in the cars, and down the hill we went, not really knowing what was going to happen and if we would even have an abbey building to come back to. Yeah, because we had seen the smoke coming over the trees, and it wasn't far away. And because the Gray Fire that had started around Medical Lake, many more people lived there, even though that fire started about the same time as our fire did, because more people are there. I think the firefighters went there first. And so our fire grew, and it's now 11,000 acres, which is huge. I mean, completely huge. And so yesterday, before we were in the levels that had to be evacuated or were getting ready to evacuate, and the sheriff actually came here last Friday and said, "Go now, get out of here." I'm sure he said it in a nice tone because he cared for us. Yeah, and so we left and, had a week. In some ways, from what I hear, everybody's experience, it was kind of a week living in luxury. Yeah? Do you feel that when you look at the kindness of the people who, on a moment's notice, they had signed up for this, but, on a moment's notice, they opened their doors. I mean, by the time we got to where we were staying, it was probably 10:30. Yeah. And they had hot food ready for us. Yeah, because we hadn't eaten. And, the whole week, just people, we kind of moved in. Yeah. Yeah. We had free range. Somebody said, "Oh, how do you know when you've moved into someplace?" Well, you have free range of the refrigerator. Yeah. And we had that. And, and they were more than happy to do things. It's just amazing. And from what I hear, this has been everybody's experience. I'm seeing you all nodding your heads in agreement. And so, first of all, what an opportunity to reflect on the kindness of others. That comes not just in, the kindness of our mothers, because these people were mothers in previous lives, but not this life, but in the 9 points of equalizing and exchanging, or of equalizing self and others. One of the points is reflecting on the kindness of sentient beings. And so here's this whole week, we just experienced it, and how would we feel? I mean, even if you were living in your own place, opening your door to 2 or 4 or 6 people on a moment's notice, and they move in, and you don't know how long they're going to be there. Yeah, and you don't know if they're going to help with the dishes or if they're going to expect, resort service. Yeah. So just to think about that, and would we be like that ourselves as individuals to people who, who people are refugees, basically, and how is our country treating people who are refugees, trying to cross the border, get to a place where it's safe, and instead they're greeted by, this artificial wall in the middle of the river that has, I don't know, spikes or something on it. I just read recently that the Justice Department is probably going to make a case with the abbot of Texas for not the abbot of Texas. You can see I'm a little off. Abbott, who is the governor of Texas. His name is Abbott. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. John Abbott. I don't know. What? Greg Abbott. Whatever. His last name is Abbott. So, what they need is a real Abbott in Texas. Yeah. They got him. But because he's loading planes full of people, and then the planes go to other states. The refugees unload. The states don't have any foregone awareness that the planes are landing. I don't know whose money he's using to get these planes and then putting migrants on them. Delivering them to New York, and I think California got some, and and these people, they're just trying to stay alive, and they had to leave their own countries and coming to America, the land of glory, and what? How are they being treated here? So we really, it was quite remarkable how we were being treated. Yeah. So, just to think about in terms of we've received so much generosity, not just the material generosity, but the generosity of care and support. Yeah. To have people around who care about whether you live or die, and to think about that and having experienced it, and how can we show that to other people who are coming to this country, who are probably just as discombobulated as I am in trying to say the name of the governor. So, it really gives you something to think about. Mm-hmm. And then also to watch. I have a sneaking suspicion that many people caught up on their sleep this last week. No? What time was your morning puja? Huh? 5:30? It wasn't 8. How many of you made it to the morning puja? More than once. It wasn't at 8 o'clock? No? Oh, good. Good. Yeah. So, it gives us a chance to see, how are we keeping our monastic discipline? And not just monastic discipline, our own discipline as practitioners. Here we had the support of other monastics, but, if you had to go somewhere else, let's say where the people weren't Buddhist and you didn't have other Dharma friends with you, could you keep the schedule? Yeah? Yeah. I have a feeling maybe in the morning and afternoon, people did some other activities. I saw a video that was quite interesting. Yeah? Oh, you didn't see the video? Oh, okay. I'm not going to tell you as long as we're online. Okay. You can watch it. It was up on Instagram until I had a fit. Now, I don't watch Instagram either, but it was sent around before. Anyway, I have a feeling some people were doing some other things. Yeah. So, what else were you doing that I did? Huh? Running. Okay. Well, some exercise is good. Yeah. What else? Huh?
Playing with puppies.
Playing with puppies. Yeah. Did you say mantra with the puppies?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Pooches.
Oh, okay. They're puja puppies. Okay. What else did you do?
Offering service.
Huh?
Offering service.
Offering service, yeah. At the homes that you were staying at. Yeah. Okay, good.
Cooking.
Cooking, yes.
Cleaning.
Cleaning.
Checking the fire status way too often.
What?
Checking the fire status.
It's way too often, yes. Yeah. It was quite interesting watching our mind. I don't know about you, but the first morning I woke up, it's like, okay, what's the fire status? And where do I find out? How do I find out? And then 15 minutes later, where's the fire status? What's going on? Is it bigger? And then 15 minutes, like that. And then realizing, they actually post it once a day if we're lucky, and sometimes it's in the morning and sometimes in the evening. And we don't, we want a minute by minute blow of what's happening because we want to know if, we have a place to go back to live, and if our neighbors are okay. But the people who are doing the work, they're busy doing the work. They don't have time to write us 15-minute reports on what's going on. I was really rather shocked when I looked at some of, the sheriff or, somebody from the fire department would post something. And then people would write in, why aren't we getting more updates? We want to know when we can go back to our house. What are you people doing? Yeah, tell us. I mean, some of them were really hostile, messages that were on there. And I was really, it pained me, I had a sense of pain seeing that because the people they were addressed to were really doing everything they could for our benefit. And just because it doesn't meet our desire, because we're totally panicked and want news every 15 minutes, why should we clutter up their phones and email with petty complaints? Yeah. So it was I was quite shocked seeing that. Yeah. What else did you do? Walking? Okay, where? Oh, in the park. Okay, yes, we know you walk to the park. Yeah. And you went to the Y? Yeah. Exercise. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice of the Y to give tickets to everybody who was affected by the fire. It was very nice of them. Yeah. What else?
Weeding.
Weeding? Oh, so you felt right at home. Yeah.
Watch the Bhikkhu Bodhi teachings that you advised.
Oh, good.
I was really glad for that. Not only because of their content.
We need to put this on a microphone.
Yeah.
I was really glad for that, not only because of their content, but because it directed us to, study,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he explains things quite well.
he does.
Yeah. It's very good.
We chanted the sutta together with the family Well, every day we chanted mostly that, but one time we chanted the Metta Sutta. We also had a lot of conversations with our hosts, Dharma and world events and stuff like that. And most of us who had any work to do did that.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked a lot with our hosts too. And they have 2 teenage daughters. So yesterday I was talking to one of them, and I was talking to her about, why we cut our hair and so on, and that we're trying to develop inner beauty, not external beauty. And this was after going into their bathroom where I don't know how many kinds of nail polish there were. And it was difficult getting into the shower because they had so many shampoos and body washes and this and the bottles, the tubes of things. They didn't have any hand lotion, which is what I wanted. But they had a lot of shampoo, which I didn't care about. But they did. But it was really interesting, talking to her. And I was saying, kind of inner beauty, then you know that people really like you for who you are. But outer beauty, sometimes the relationships are not so good because you're just looking superficially. And anyway, we're not getting younger and more beautiful. And so I was saying inner beauty is really important. She said, I really like that. 16 years old. Boy, I was impressed. Yeah, some of the guys don't know what 16-year-old girls are like. But if 16-year-old boys are anything like them, then it's probably quite similar. Yeah. So, yeah. So what else did you learn and think about? Yeah.
We attended one of Venerable Kadra's teachings for the Sandpoint Sangha. So a group of us gathered and saw how many of the pets we could gather as well to watch that. And I tackled something that's been on my to-do list for like 9 months. So that was really nice. And yeah, it was nice to practice together and to get to know one another better, as well as getting to know our hosts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get to see people in different situations. So you get to see a side of them besides, it's time to set up for puja. Why aren't you here 15 minutes ago? To see people and to have the roles be very different instead of the roles being, you're a member of a team and things you do. You're just, friends hanging out. Yeah. Not just hanging out, but trying to hang out in a Dharma way. Mm-hmm. And act somewhat respectably in front of our hosts.
There was a few things. One was to think, to just see the kindness that we were receiving and to reflect that every day when we're here, all the things we receive are kindness and a lot from some of the same people, but that it's more obvious when you're in someone's home and they're handing you food.
Yeah.
To reflect that we need to remember that all of what we receive here is the kindness of others.
Right.
And another thing was to notice the distraction. Being in city, we go on a walk and it's like looking at the architecture. The architect and I walk together quite a bit. And we both are appreciative of that. Today I walked down to the river, which was a mile away from where I was. And I just kind of walked with my gaze down until but I kept looking up to see, where traffic was and be aware of where I was. But just did that and walked alone this morning. That was nice.
Yeah.
And there was a third thing, but it'll come to me later. Let someone else talk.
Okay. Yeah.
Many of us took more time to do more practice and study. And what stood out to me was that on some of the walks that we went on or one time going into town is that people really noticed the clothes that we were wearing and were curious about who we were. And I think on every time we went out, maybe bar one, they came up to us, just made offerings to Geshe-la. And they were curious and they wanted to talk to us, and they had a lot of respect and appreciation for what we were doing with our lives. And then, yeah, it was just affirming that just seeing the robes has an impact, just walking down, and that people are hungry for an alternative perspective. And that there's, particularly with one man who we were talking with, there's a lack of, he had questions about him and his wife, their parents are dying. And so there's these big existential questions that they have that they're wanting to find help with. And so they see the robes and they come. So there's, just affirming that value of what we are doing, even just walking down the road.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very important to remember this experience. You've been stopped and people, because I have it a lot, and they just come up and talk to you and ask you questions, and they're interested and curious. And even some of the workers here, the guy who does the stucco wanted, what you're doing is different than what I'm doing. But, I learn a lot being here, and you're nice people. So, that's, in this day and age in America, to have somebody say you're a nice person, that means something. Yeah, that means that you're really contributing something that people value. So it's important to realize this, because sometimes you'll hear people say, this is one of the things people say when they're thinking about disrobing, okay, which is, well, I've noticed that when I walk down the street, my robes create a distance between me and other people. They can't talk as freely with me, and I can't talk as freely with them. It would be much easier, really, to talk about the Dharma and spread the Dharma if I were just looking like them and wearing ordinary clothes. And you will hear people say that, okay? My experience of 46 years is fill in the letters. That actually wearing the robes gives you so much opportunity to connect with people on a really important, deep way. It's not just, well, hi, how are you? I'll sit down on a flight and people say, well, what are you? So I don't get offended, I don't say, well, I'm a dinosaur or something, but they say, what are you? Oh, I'm a Buddhist nun. Oh, I thought you must be in some kind of order like that. What do you do? And they're curious and they want to hear. Yeah, what do you believe in? Yeah. So what you said is really true. Just walking down the street sometimes is something that really it makes people stop and think. And actually, when you read the story of the Buddha's life, his very first disciple, when he was walking from Bodh Gaya to Deer Park, was a layman who just saw him in his robes and thought, this guy is special, and stopped to talk to him and became the first Buddhist, disciple of the Buddha. He remained as a layman, but just, you think of that, this has been going on for centuries. Yeah.
He asked that exact thing. What are you?
Yeah. What are you? And then it's really fun when they try and convert you. Yeah. So, when was it? Oh, in Long Beach. When I was in Long Beach, somebody came. Ladies were walking down the street, and they stopped me, and we were chatting, and I said, this is what I usually say to people is, if you follow your religion well, because I'm sure your religion teaches love and compassion and kindness, that's the same thing I'm following. And if you follow that, what your teacher taught, then we'll all be creating a better world together. And then bye-bye. Yeah? And that makes a nice link with them. Yeah. I don't accept any literature. Yeah, they might as well save that for somebody else. But it's something nice. I heard you guys met some people who were Mormon. Yeah. And what was that like?
Yeah, they were really curious what we were doing, and they wanted to connect and share. And so we gave them information about the Abbey, and they might come up here.
Wow.
They're very respectful, very curious, and open, friendly.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah. They're very young. Yeah. Yeah. Because they all go doing on mission when they're young. So, yeah. Good. Okay. What? Yeah.
So some people stayed at the Haystack Heights community, and
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that was interesting to see how that community works. I only saw some of the buildings, but a group of people helped put the roof on a meditation hut that they're building there. That was this morning.
Oh, that's nice. Somebody want to tell about what we did? Yeah. So she fed the cat and cleaned the cat box and found this exquisite kitty litter that doesn't clump when your cat pees in it, and it doesn't smell. What else did you do?
I fed Ferdinand the goat. He loves knapweed. We're thinking about goats and knapweed. He loves it. It's like dessert. Mostly just making connections with the family. It was a very interesting time for them because one of their daughters going back to school. And my sense is that this family really tries to keep the family unit. Like mom and dad would be working all day. The kids would be either at track practice or kind of getting last minute things together to fly out yesterday. But they always seemed to come back at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and we would try very hard to get whatever medicine meal or whatever we were doing so we could actually give them the space. The house was a very open space, sound carried very well. So we would try to really honor the fact that they wanted to connect as a family. They'd sit around the table, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, just chilling and checking in with the girls and seeing how work was. And so we really tried to honor, they had a time rhythm in their life somewhat, and we tried to work around it so they always had some space. They gave us the entire kitchen, whatever we needed. The cats had full reign. We kind of did take over the place, but we tried to navigate their schedule so that they would always have the space to be together as a family. And that was really, it was really nice to be in that. And of course, at this point, the roof ornaments are part of the picture right now, and learning about their company and how they're doing this refugee brand. And while we're sitting around, things are happening in their lives, and we're just being witness to it. It was really lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean, many of you know, Sean has a business, and part of it is he started like a little thing for refugees, making, it was mostly bath products. They gave us a box. Do you have it?
It's in your mailbox.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, these nice little boxes with different bath things. I haven't seen what's inside. Yeah, that were made by the refugees who he employs and gets legal papers for. So everything's above board. But I hadn't known before that they were doing something explicitly for refugees, which is really wonderful.
is that this was Sean and Jane's response. They wanted to make a political and a social and a spiritual statement about how refugee and migrants are a huge part of the success of this country. And so this brand, they developed this brand. It's called Refugee Products. It has refugee with these beautiful pictures of faces of all different kinds on the packages and with straw and boxes that have beautiful designs in them. It was a statement they wanted to say, counteracting the thought process that started to happen back in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to say something?
Just following up on that, they're also purposely employing right now Ukrainian refugees.
Yeah.
So they've got a number of people there who have come to the country, and they're very dependable, reliable people, and it's just a beautiful, harmonious situation for both. These people really want security and a job, and they're being treated very respectfully and carefully by Sean and his employees that are there. And I think the other thing I'd like to add is that we've known Sean and his eldest daughter, Maggie, for quite some time, but we got to know Sean's wife, Jane, and their other daughter during this visit. And they were all sincerely delighted that we were there. And every now and then we would check in with them and say, it's kind of a romantic idea to invite people to your home when they're evacuating, but we all think it's maybe for 24 hours or, maybe 2 days. So on day 3, I said, how is it going? Do you still want us around? And they said, there's no question. Yeah. And Jane said, it's just so calming to have you here. So, they were just bending over backwards to make us feel comfortable and welcome. And it was just, we left kind of frayed a bit last Friday, and we end up in this very beautiful, welcoming situation.
Yeah. And they live out in the countryside, which I was so glad we were at a place like that, not in the city or the suburbs. And so there was, wide expanse and places to walk. It was really very nice. The land was different. It was more like the Palouse with, that wheat and straw there, but still some of the, some of the, what was it, the Palouse Highway? No, it wasn't the Palouse Highway. It was one of the streets that came off of it. I felt like I was on the Matterhorn at Disneyland. Yeah. So.
This is the first time I experience staying in an American home, especially American Buddhist. And it was like, this is so overwhelming that I'm able to witness that how couple of them, they address each other respectfully, with deep communication, care, and awareness. And there's so much of the implementation of the Buddhist values and virtuous actions that pervades in every action that they do. And I came about to reflect on, wow, that is so beautiful. And then I'm really glad that of the 4 communities are establishing in America. And I really rejoice on that.
Yeah, because you don't find many Buddhists in America. So, yeah. Anybody else have other reflections to share?
Well, last Friday we left quite late, and by the time we could get a hold of our hosts, it was going to be pretty late, and everything wasn't. So the 4 of us got a hotel when we could find one, and that really started making me realize the scope of what was going on, because I didn't know anything about the medical lake fire at that time. And we stopped at least 4 places and saw one place that had a no vacancy sign. And I think it was the 5th place that we finally got a place. So this whole time I've thought a lot about that, even though we were in comfortable situations, there was a lot of people evacuated that weren't. And the fire never came here. A lot of people finally got to go home to see if there was a home. And then to look at it even outside of the scope of that, there's more refugees right now than they ever known of in history. Millions. you know, and it's from war. I thought a lot about the wars, especially the Ukrainian war, but all the wars going on and war in general. And then I also saw a lot of homeless people that are that way regularly. And I talked to some people on the streets that some of the people I talked to didn't always seem very right in the head. Somebody I talked to this morning, very disturbed, and just seeing this, you know, trying to focus on the suffering of other people. And this guy was asking me about Buddhism. He asked me, why am I so messed up? Then that's putting it without profanity. And I said, well, from the Buddhist point of view, you have a human life because you created virtue in the past. And I didn't even go there why you're messed up.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think he might have been coming off a substance, I don't know. But he was asking, he said, what is your faith, when I walked by? Because he could see it, you know. And I stood and talked to him probably for 20 minutes.
Good.
Yeah.
And that might be the only contact he has with Buddhism in millions of eons.
It might be.
We don't know.
Yeah. But just to spend this time looking at how we were, you know, for some of us, it's almost like a vacation. We were treated quite well and taken care of. And there's people living in the parking lot at the Riverside School, or people that originally evacuated to Cheney before it evacuated, you know, and people that can't get a hotel, or people that are paying $100 and something every day for a hotel room. Yeah, so just to realize that our situation was quite easy compared to what a lot of people have to face.
Yeah. And I was thinking also, we can talk more about this tomorrow, but we have extra blankets, extra towels, extra shoes, you know, extra jackets, you know, to keep what, you know, some we will need here, you know, but to take all the extra things we have and take them to Riverside High School, because a lot of the people who are there will need these things.
I did look on the Red Cross site, and they had a specific list of what they were accepting, though that doesn't mean that some of those individuals there might not accept that.
Yeah.
But it was things like bottled water and diapers, and they had a list of only like 5 things that they would accept.
Yeah.
But like some of the people living in the parking lot might accept a coat or something.
Anybody have other reflections?
The experience also helped me appreciate how our life is structured here. I was very, very appreciative for being in a situation where I was with other monastics, and it would be very hard for me to keep the discipline if I was totally on my own. But simply having someone else who I'm going to do 5:30 a.m. practice with made a big difference. And the amount of time kind of just figuring things out. It's like, okay, what are we going to cook, and who's going to cook, and what time are we going to cook? And there was just a lot of constant kind of figuring things out. Where here we don't have that much to figure out in a way. It's like, okay, it's your turn to cook. Well, you figure out what to cook. So just how much efficiency in a way we have in our structure here, so that we can focus on the Dharma and our practice and on offering service. And seeing that, when you're in a smaller group, it's like you still have to clean. Now there's a lot more for each person to clean. So I really just appreciated the structure that we have here, and how much we can really dedicate to our practice and offering service by being in a larger group than just 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, you can really see that what people do together as a group, they can do so much more than as individuals.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually appreciated, and our guests did as well, because I think they came home while we were having our group meeting where we shared. And I really appreciated our community, and I felt very together with everybody, even though we were in different settings. I felt especially when we had that meeting and did the puja together, it felt very, I felt like this is our clan, this is our group. We're hanging together, even though we're in different locations.
Right.
Felt very unified.
And that was really crucial to the whole experience, because it's so easy in that kind of situation. Somebody says, well, I want to go home to my family because, we're not at the Abbey. We don't know when we're going back. I want to go take my 2 weeks now. And then somebody else wants to go here and do that, and somebody else. And then you fall apart as a community because everybody wants to do their own thing. Yeah. But people really held together as a community. I thought it was quite wonderful watching that. Yeah. And there was definitely a feeling, that we are working together for something. Yeah.
It was very touching because I monitor the office email address to hear and read so many people from around the world expressing concern and wanting to offer support in whatever way they could, even from afar. And then we had, of course, and in the case of our host, Sean was not on the list to be a host.
Oh.
So he wrote me an email while we were sitting in here last Friday saying, I heard about the fire. If you need help, you're welcome to come and stay at our home.
Oh, wow.
So then I reached out to the host we were supposed to go to and was not able to reach that person. So I wrote to Sean and I said, hey, can we come? But just, people making prayers, hearing about that nunnery in Nepal, doing that practice. We were really held globally.
Yeah. And there were many other centers that were making prayers for us. The Maitripa wrote us and said, if you need a place to stay, come stay with us. Who else? Judith Simmer Brown. Did you get the email forward from her? She's from Naropa. Yeah. And, my friend Peter in Mexico, Peter Aronson, for those of you who know him. Yeah. I wrote him and told him about the thing, and his reply was, Oi, Gewalt. So for those of you who now know what Oi, Gewalt means. But many. I didn't forward all of them that I got to you. I know you were thinking of making but I got many, and it was too many to keep forwarding. Yeah, but amazing how people and names I didn't even recognize, writing and saying, how are you?
On Friday night, I got an email from Sarah from Youth Emergency Services, and she said, what can we do? And we're here for you. What do you need? And then kept, checking in, and so they were right there for us. Yeah. It was very beautiful.
We need to be right there for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Geshe-la, what did you think about this whole experience?
I was really moved and overwhelmed by the sincere openness and generosity, hospitality of the people. And that too, just not for 1 day, 2 days, just continuously, consistently. They seem to be enjoying it even more than we are worried what kind of a burden we may be becoming on them. But they were showing ever more happiness and a joy in doing that. And that made me reflect on how much the Abbey has touched the hearts of so many people in really bringing meaning in their life. And this was an opportunity for all of us to witness that, being repaid back, and also feeling very good, very hopeful that, yes, this could be replicated everywhere, anywhere. This could be done. And so that was very moving and touching thing about this whole experience. And just as Venerable, you just touched on I had the same feeling when we heard from Venerable Damje, saying that as soon as she feels better, she would want to come and be part of what everyone is going through.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is the way to kind of come together. Otherwise, anyone could say, well, I could take my vacation off now and then go anywhere that's better. And so none of us did that. And Venerable Damju kind of exemplified that by writing this. Even in that condition, she wanted to be with us and go through the same thing that everyone is going, and be of any contributing factor in our becoming stronger and like that. Yeah. So that was a big lesson, and it's particularly brought home what self-centeredness could do. What self-centeredness could do.
Oh, yeah.
How we didn't give into it. How we banded together and thought more of the common good and of the Abbey and of the larger humanity. So yeah, I was feeling very grateful to Venerable in leading this, in showing the path, in leading this, in creating this structure over the years now, how each one of us has benefited from this, in how we saw ourselves not being the same old, weak self in the face of these problems, but rather we were strong and we are able to even see deeper meanings in them, and at the same time be object of people's sincere generosity and kindness. And these are all due to the value and the benefit of the Dharma practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we met the Mormon people, I had one story to share with them, because I had been in Salt Lake City, Utah, with a group of monks on tour. At that time, we had just had accident in the snow with our trailer burning. And we found that out a little later with someone saying something bluish smoke-like thing is coming out of your trailer. And we stopped and we found out the tire was on fire, and we had to really rush and open the trailer to reach for the passports first and foremost, and like that. So then we had programs planned ahead, had to go, and next stop, or the one after that might have been in Salt Lake City, but we didn't have anything. We all had trash bags for everything to put in. And we even smelled smoke. And so at that time they helped and gave each one of us jackets and other things that we needed. So I shared that with them and said, your generosity really helped us.
Yeah.
So that kind of...
that's nice, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of nailed down on our common values, which are to be practiced and appreciated by everyone.
Yeah. And I was also very touched that Venerable Nima and Venerable Jampa joined us for the puja last night. And I got a note from Venerable Chuni. I think she's a little bit jealous because she wants to be here too and go through. Not maybe jealous, but you know. Yeah. Looking forward to being back. And then I just got a note from Venerable Damcha, who said she's feeling better, but the COVID cough is terrible. Yeah. And, you know, she said, I tested positive today, but I'm going to test again this evening. You know, she's a little bit impatient. You know, like, why, you think it's going to be that much? It's like us with wanting an update on the fire, you know. We want it to know immediately. Okay. So it is 7:00. Do people have more reflections?
Something that really stood out to me was how important it is to maintain cohesion and harmony. Especially because, I mean, it's important here. Obviously, we're a smallish community, but in a group of like 7 people, it's much smaller. And if there is disharmony, it's so much more in the air and it really influences. And yeah, so that was really, that made a difference. And I really appreciated how people really, we did things together in groups. That was so helpful. We did the recitations, we did the meditations. We ate together, we did the prayers, we went on outings together. It was so nice to have that.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice. And then 7 of us, and we get to know each other better, like where our buttons are, what we will prefer, what we will not prefer. It comes out very big in a small setting. And then, and then when like we are able to go around and talk about it, like we will iron it out after that, like, I'm more towards this character, or I work better this way, and then, your style is this way. We get to know each other, how to communicate better, how our style works. I find that creates a bigger, like, the bond gets stronger. Yeah, so instead of the buttons, we always complain about the buttons being pushed. I find that this situation actually help us to grow in such a way that we know each other better, our bonds get stronger, and then there is less kind of buttons kind of thing. Yeah, so I thought that was really nice. And then it's like the vacation thing. Well, that didn't come out in my mind. It was more like, how do we move forward as a community and as the group of 7 of us? Or how can we contribute to like the growth of each of us? Yeah, or if anybody needs help, how can we support this person? I thought that was really nice. Yeah, although half my mind was like, oh no, the Buddha hall. Yeah, and then, it was really nice when Venerable Samton sent about the roof ornaments, like, yay, it's finally here. And also, like, there was a lot that came up because I went back to Singapore and I was on my own. And then I could see the difference. It was difficult that time because I was alone. I had to really discipline myself. The mind was so tight. I don't want to break the precepts. I want to follow the schedule. I had nothing. And then it's a lot easier with a group of people. That was a very big difference. And another one was, when I was looking for a place to practice in Taiwan, I had to sleep on train station because it was raining and I had no place to go. And it's like, there is a community, there are friends to support you, there are people to help you just to continue your practice. And I find that that's really helpful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like, how do I repay the kindness? I did ask, like, Venerable, exactly. How do I repay the kindness? And then, we just keep practicing well. And then, thank you.
Yeah. So Venerable Pende was our chief and glorious cook, and she didn't get assigned. She just stepped naturally into that position. And so the first few days, it was the weekend, and so she was cooking together with Jane, Sean's wife. And the two of them had such a good time in the kitchen. Jane kept saying, I'm having so much fun. Yeah. So how was it for you?
I think it's an amazing experience. It helped me to realize that it doesn't matter where I am, I need to practice. And I'm very grateful to have that inner strength and self-discipline practicing in the chapel, because a lot of time I'm alone. So that's the first thing. And being even with you and the two senior nuns, and I'm very grateful that I have a room to exercise and practice and study. So even it's a big house, but then when the family are together and there's a lot of noise, but it doesn't bother me, because I said, I need to be flexible and be try to adapt whatever I am, so there's no problem. And I know that the three of you are very busy with meetings and a lot of like verbal Samke, verbal Samton, busy with many things. So I said, no problem, I can cook. And I said, so see the amazing kindness, generosity, and hospitality of Sean and Jen. I said, if when they come back, and if I have some time, I better put away dishes and get everything clean and organized as a way to say, hey, I appreciate your kindness, but in a way that I can do something so it's relevant me to think that, wow, there are many creative ways that we can repay their kindness right away at that moment, rather than we're going to do something later in the future. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, and that kitchen was immaculate every night. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was living in that big house like that helped me to appreciate a simple lifestyle of a monastic and say, wow, being so simple like this helped my mind a lot. I don't need to worry a lot of many things. And it's easy to clean. And wow, the tremendous benefit of being so simple, having a simple lifestyle of monastic.
Yeah. Not having so many possessions all around, everywhere.
Yeah. And of course, saving the earth is the key thing. Yeah. So there are many reflections. And in my practice, the past week, I spent a lot of time practicing loving kindness and compassion, especially dedicate a lot of merit for the firefighters and all the people involved to put out the fire, people who got affected by the fire and who got evacuated, and dedication for our host. And then, so it's amazing.
Yeah, it was a real lesson in interconnectivity, and how we are not isolated individuals, but we really influence each other. Yeah. And other people influence us, and we can influence them even by simple things that we do.
Yeah, and I guess being the most junior in the big group, in that the group of four, I said, I don't need to be asked to cook, so I think it's okay. And whatever way I can, I'm gonna do my part. So,
and she's a great cook.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
And then many valuable lessons to be learned from this experience.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It's fading into the distance in a way, but what also struck me was, even last Friday, how all of our guests who had come here thinking that they were about to start the retreat, how many of them jumped up and helped us clear the decks and prepare for, possibly barricading and, doing the other prep, and how quickly they packed up their things. And I don't know if they were all complaining to someone, but I didn't hear the complaints.
No, we received letters from all of them saying how impressed they were with how the community handled the whole situation.
And it was just also so nice that I felt like they were kind of with us. I mean, we did say, hey, go, please leave. But it wasn't that at the first sign of danger, they jumped into a car as an individual and left. They helped. They were willing to take people, to host people, whatever was needed. And it reminded me of a line from Sister Christina's dissertation that she said one of the things we have is this everyone culture, and that the guests are brought in, and so that notion that it isn't that they had come here and okay, there's something going wrong, let the monastics deal with it, but that they were with us, and that's something I really appreciated.
Yeah, and I think almost all of them, or all of them, wrote us afterwards. Yeah.
And the other thing that really touched me was that the sheriff's office, dispatched someone to come right up here to the Abbey last Friday.
Yeah.
To really urge us to get out of here. And, they had a lot going on, I'm sure, but to make sure that there was personnel going right to our door.
Yeah.
That was really touching. And so I told Sheriff Blakesley that we are very, very thankful and grateful for that care.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be very happy to hear that.
Oh, good. Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering, we will invite the sheriff and some of the deputies to lunch after the fire is over. Right now they're a little bit busy. And and Chris, who gave us a lot of advice, he was our former fire chief for this particular area. And she was on the phone with him like once or twice or 3 times a day, and he was really helping us to understand and giving us lots of advice. Those of you who don't remember Chris, he was the one who came up and taught us how to use the fire extinguishers and who told us about barricade. And so any guy who can put barricade, and this is what he did, on his finger and hold a blowtorch to his finger, I think we can trust him. If he gives advice about fire, he knows. It's amazing to see somebody hold you ever seen that? Yeah, it's just like, what's he doing? So now I guess I'm supposed to teach. About Buddha nature. Okay, we only have 20 minutes left. What? Okay.
There was a little piece of artwork in the room I was staying in that made me think about Buddha nature, and I actually really like it a lot. So since we're talking about Buddha nature, I thought I will share it so you don't have to teach right away.
Go ahead. Talk a little.
It says, you will because you can. And when I saw that, I was like, it made so much sense to me. And I thought right away, you will become a bodhisattva. You will become a Buddha because you can, because you have the Buddha nature. It was just so clear and so simple. I found it actually, I thought about that every day when I was there. I'd look at that picture and like, you will. Because you can. It was just so simple, but it was so evident that I hadn't thought about it in that way before. Like I usually find some kind of, it's so far away, it's that kind of thing. But it's like, wow, because you can, hey, you will.
Yeah. Nothing's stopping you.
Yeah. You have what you need. So that's my Buddha nature lesson for the day. I thought about it every day because I had that little piece of artwork in the room where we evacuated.
Yeah. And we got a card or something that turned up that said, no mud, no lotus. Yeah, that. Yeah.
No, that was Vicky from Coal International.
That was the woman who was helping us get the Ganjira. Yeah.
Actually, they would like you to share the name of the company helping the refugees.
Oh.
Water Glider International.
What?
Water Glider International.
Water Glider
Yes.
International.
Yes.
Water Glider International. Okay. I realize I don't even know the name of their company. Yeah. Yeah, and they helped us, with importing the Ganjira. And Monday morning, I think Venerable Tarpa and Venerable Sumten are.
Well, there's going to be a whole group.
Oh, there's a whole group. Okay. Yeah. You want to tell what's happening with the Ganjira?
There's a whole other story that will be told at some point, or maybe it's just too boring, about how long it took to get the roof ornaments made in Nepal to the United States of America. But that's another story for another day. So they actually arrived at our friend's warehouse, Sean, who we've been talking about, Water Glider International, and they made it there this morning, earlier than estimated, and the boxes seem to be in good shape. So we will go there, a number of us, to uncrate the roof ornaments and to just photograph and film all of it so that the structural engineer who's going to work on this project of figuring out how to secure the roof ornaments to the roof of the Buddha Hall will have really good information, because we don't want, in a big wind, one of the deer to end up in Deer Park and another one to end up, I don't know, in Texas with that abbot that you were talking about. So it's going to be a little bit of an engineering feat to make sure these things are actually secured to the roof. Mm-hmm. So we'll take a look at the whole shipment. There's 11 boxes of different sizes. And we'll just take a look at them, and then we'll put them back in the box. And then we'll take them one by one to an automotive painter to get them painted a gold color. And then eventually they'll get a great big, a genie or a crane? Anyway, someone will have to figure out how these things go on the roof, and that'll be a whole series of videos by the PR team that will take them in a whole new direction.
And I think it's very important to keep in touch with this Tibetan man that we met, who's done this before. And he can probably give some ideas to the structural engineer about how previous monasteries have done that.
That would be very appreciated.
Yeah. 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 Well, Dechen is the man that we met in Long Beach, and he wants a drawing of this roof structure. And so we had a Buddha Hall meeting. What else would we do when we're, refugees, on Thursday? And I think Marcus said he would get that to us, right? Somebody said.
We'll make sure it happens.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's all for today. Yeah, people look a little bit tired. Yeah, and I also want to thank the person or people who opened my windows and cleaned my room and set up the water bowls and everything, so that was ready when I came back. Thank you. Okay, and Maitri and Upeka are back. How's Upeka doing now?
He's doing really well.
He what?
He's doing just fine.
Fine. Okay, and Maitri is too. The two of them were doing a song and dance show in the car coming back. Yeah. Meow, meow. And dancing in their carrier. Yeah. Yeah, how were Mudita and Karuna?
They were great. They were very quiet, just waiting to get back.
Okay, how were they in the car?
They were very quiet. It was really weird.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah. The two we had when we were at the house, they were great too. Yeah. Yeah, good monastics.
Because our feed wasn't very good, we had to turn it off. And it was so dark because Venerable Sultan was in the room that you couldn't see us anyway. But when we got to the part where people were getting up prostrating, was that when it was? Mudita just went nuts. She started like, zoom, 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 zoom. We were all trying to chant, but we were laughing so hard. It was pretty, that was the highlight.
Yeah. Okay, let's dedicate. Yeah. So we didn't have the teaching, but I think it's good that we had the debriefing. I would have preferred that we had sat in a circle so you could see each other, but next time. There probably will be a next time.